Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to the latest edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast. Nate Maxon here with you, and this week, of course, I am joined by my brother Aaron.
Hello.
And Mr. Archie Mitchell.
What's up?
How is it going out there tonight, gents?
Cold.
Well, 90% of the snow went away, so that's good.
For now.
I'm happy it went away for you guys. It's still here for me.
Yeah. Did you get the feet of snow there where you're at, Arch?
We got 4 inches, but then by the time they plowed, now I have a wall of snow in front of my house.
Yeah.
They never plowed my backyard, which was great because so now my car is just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
But and then today we woke up and it was flurry. There were flurries until like 2 o'clock, but it didn't stick. So
My daughter had this. We had got her a new car earlier this year, and she had, her hoopty car still, and 3-4 people willing to buy it. She never sold it because she procrastinates about everything.
okay,
So, and I had pushed it around the back of the house because I didn't want the hunk of junk sitting in the front of the house. So I pushed it around the back of the house in the driveway in my parking spot. Anyway, long story short, I decided, well, since you're not going to sell it, I'm going to sell it for you, and I'm going to keep the money. So I have a guy I know. I sold it to him, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I was like, we need to get that car out of my parking spot before winter hits because I am not having my car plowed in, and I can't get out from the front of the house. What?
Or sideswiped. That's happened.
Yes.
That happens like once a year to somebody.
Before we went on the air, we were talking about wrestling video games, and Aaron mentioned that his favorite wrestling video game of all time is No Mercy, WWF No Mercy from the Nintendo 64, which, of course, obviously, I owned. We all owned it. Aaron and I played the shit out of it. Now,
if it's not you people out there listening's favorite wrestling game, you're wrong.
You're wrong. I agree.
But I wanted Aaron to tell the story on the air of the rib he pulled on me with the WWF No Mercy game. Archie, you're going to love this. This is probably back in 2002 or something?
I think was I still I might have just been out of school. So probably 2001, 2002. I was off and Nate was at work. And I was like, man, what can I do to Nate? So I popped in his cartridge of WWF No Mercy because Nate owned the game, and I just kind of glommed onto it because that's what little brothers do.
Right.
And I proceeded to take my time out of my day for nothing. And I took, because that had the most intricate creator wrestler thing you could ever do with it. And you could edit every single wrestler on the game. So every single wrestler on the game, by the time I was done, had an afro. Every single one. Steve Austin, The Rock, Vince McMahon.
I come home from a long day of work wanting to play. I come home from work wanting to play No Mercy that night. I turn it on. Everybody's got an afro.
And the best part is, like, when you would edit them in the game, that's what they would look like on the video package at the beginning of the game. So he plots it in. I'm like, all right, it's going to be awesome. And Steve Austin, I'm like, yeah. And he has a big afro and shit.
I love a good rib.
You had to go back and change them all back.
We used to play that game weekly at my house. My brother and I would call all our friends over, and we would do a No Mercy tournament every week.
Mm-hmm.
And it got down one week to me and him in the finals, and we're playing, and we didn't know that if you had all 4 controllers hooked up, that they could connect and bring in other wrestlers and then interfere in the match.
Right.
So we're playing, me and him. We're like 35 minutes. The match is going on, and all of a sudden, 2 other guys behind us grab controllers and bring out managers. And then they start digging in the crowd and throwing chairs in the ring a la ECW, and they're hitting us with them, so the match can't finish.
Absolute chaos.
I rage quit and throw the remote down. He pins me and wins, and then the next thing I know, my foot went through the video game. But you couldn't break. I didn't break it, obviously, but I just went, ha! And I was like, fuck, we really pissed them off, didn't we?
Those old video game systems, man, you could throw them down a staircase and they wouldn't break. The new ones, you sneeze on the fucking thing and it's got an error. It's like Jesus.
Right.
Well, this week's show, we are going to be talking about our top 10 this week is top 10 least favorite / worst angles of all time. I had fun making this list.
I did too.
And we are also going to do a match review. A couple of weeks ago in our Facebook group, I had put up a post about making each other as fans a wrestling match mixtape, and a bunch of you guys, I appreciate it, commented on it. Enough of you where I decided, well, maybe for the next few shows, we'll take these matches that our listeners have suggested, watch them, review them. This week's match was from our listener Tom Mallison, and it is Lord Steven Regal and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Excellent suggestion, Tom. This match,
fantastic. Yes,
incredible. Took
place in Houston, Texas, at the Astro Arena. Fall Brawl 1993. 6,000 in attendance. The main event of the show was
pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
It was pretty bad.
Wasn't the main event the Sting and Davey Boy against the Vader and the Sid?
Well, maybe I thought maybe the War Games, because this is like the worst year for the War Games.
Oh yeah, by far.
What was the War Games this year? I didn't even.
Wasn't it the Nasty Boys and Dusty Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes versus Ming and Colonel Robert Parker and yeah.
Actually, hold on, I was wrong. No, hold on. The War Games match at this one was Sting, Davey Boy Smith, Dustin Rhodes, and the Shockmaster.
Okay.
Against Sid Vicious, Vader,
and Harlem Heat.
That's what this one was.
Yeah. And Shockmaster ceased wearing the Stormtrooper helmet by this time and was now a handyman.
Yes. Good old Uncle Fred.
A bumbling handyman.
Yep. Like, what was shocking about a handyman?
Not shitting on the worker, folks. Fred
No, not at all.
But this
94 was that Nasty Boys, Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah. They dragged Dusty out of retirement.
It's two bad years for the War Games.
And the one in 94 was particularly bad because they were trying to push that as the main event because it was one of the shows Hogan didn't want to work. So, you got that going for you.
And I think Ming almost murdered Dusty in the middle of the ring during that match.
Yeah. The closest almost murder in War Games match history is when Sid Vicious almost murders Brian Pillman.
Yep, with that power bomb, Jesus.
Yes.
He power bombs him, and Dusty's on commentary just goes, Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Can't even.
That was the realistic. I mean, not realistic. That was the real response.
Oh yeah.
And I'm pretty sure when he got to the back, Dusty probably told him the classic, "Don't do shit you don't know how to do."
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do a power bomb in a cage that low?
Yeah, stupid son of a bitch. So yes, our match we're talking about though is a good one. It's Lord Steven Regal and Ricky Steamboat, the World TV title that actually opens up this pay-per-view. This thing starts out hot.
Well, the thing that you just said, from top to bottom, the match never left. Like, there was always action.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't a lot of rest holds. There weren't a lot of, we're just going to clamp down on each other and sit in the middle of the ring.
And even when there were, and that's one of my biggest points about this match is it made sense. These two guys are both awesome at selling the body part, selling the injury.
Well, my favorite line that Jesse Ventura says, because I'll be honest, his commentary was a little dismal during the match. Like, he seemed bored almost. Mm-hmm. But William Regal does
in WCW.
Yeah. William Regal delivers a straight right hand. Ricky Steamboat delivers 4 back. And Jesse goes, "Oh God, it's turning into a brawl." And Tony Schiavone says, "Jesse, we're only 2 minutes in. Give it time." And he said, "You can't come back from a brawl and go into a scientific match." And then that's exactly what
they do. Yes. No, go ahead, Aaron.
I was just gonna say that even though a butler can't be a sir, like, that's not a thing. The William Regal Sir William act, if you want, I hate, maybe shouldn't call it an act, but you know what I mean. Like, the presentation was always awesome.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, I mean, Regal never lost anything, but I think he lost a little bit when they took Dundee off of him.
Yeah.
Well, they took away Dundee and they gave him Bobby Eaton and Taylor.
Yeah,
as a tag team, you know.
But I just think it worked so well.
It did. And not that Regal needed a manager or a mouthpiece or anything, but it just, I mean, you look at the finish of the match, it was perfect. The way it came down to, Sir William helped him, you know what I mean? But the thing that I loved is from beginning to end of the match, Ricky was selling an injury because Regal hit him with the umbrella during a Saturday Night's Main Event, and he sold it through he didn't like feigned it for like 2 minutes and then, okay, now he's going to be normal. No, every move he did was painful. We don't get that in today's matches.
And Ricky's also on the short list of people that were like 10 times better in NWA, WCW than when they were in the RWF.
I agree.
I also put in my notes in this match that this is him wrestling this match. This is the most heelish stuff I've ever seen Steamboat do in a match. He always kind of wrestled straight babyface most of the time. Right. But he does like a playing possum spot in this match. He does, there's actually this crowd when I first turned the match on, I just brought up the pay-per-view on the network, skipped to the match and started watching it. So I had no context of where this pay-per-view actually was until later in the match. They do say it's in Houston, but I thought they were in Philly because there's actually an audible Steamboat sucks chant during the match.
And then
makes no sense.
The fans are just probably getting riled up.
Right.
But there's also a point where in the match they're chanting for Regal. They're not chanting Regal. They're just like, Steve. That made me laugh. Steve.
Now, see, to Nate's point, you mentioned Steamboat being heelish. Steamboat raked the eyes at one point. I think they were on the top rope and Regal was trying to do a suplex. He rakes the eyes and Tony Schiavone goes, he's showing resiliency to get out of that move. Jesse Ventura again looks at Tony and goes, so when Brian Pillman does that, it's a heel move. But when Ricky Steamboat does this, he's showing resiliency. And Tony Schiavone just says, well, it just depends on your point of view. And he goes, okay. Tony, no problem.
Okay, Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan. It's all about your point of view.
When you were bringing up the fact that this was like the most heelish you'd seen Steamboat work or whatever, the reason I would think, and I'm not a wrestling expert or anything, but the reason he probably did it was because he's going into the match hurt.
Right.
And as a wrestler was like, you know what? I'm already hurt. This guy's a fucking chicken shit. I'm gonna, or you know what I mean? Not chicken shit, but you know what I mean. Like, he's gonna cheat me, so I might as well cheat him before he cheats me. Everything.
It's a fantastic spot in here where Regal like pops up and gets Steamboat in a drop toe hold. That's great. Like I said, they both sell lots of actual wrestling in this match. None of it, not a lot of it's really flashy, but it's realistic.
Well, no, they went flashy. Steamboat came off the top rope with a splash, and Regal literally just kind of rolled through him, but didn't go for a pin. He just kind of like he caught him, took the brunt of the and then just was like whoops. And even the announcers are like, wow, he actually countered that. He didn't take the full brunt of the move. And that to me is the mark of a good wrestler, if you could counter anything.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
talk about the realism aspect of it. I've heard Steamboat say it, and then I've also heard Flair talk about it. Steamboat used to watch like boxing films and see how people would stagger or react when they would get hit with like a left uppercut or a right uppercut, and he just watched the human body. Like, okay, what's somebody naturally do when they get fucking cold cocked? Right, and he would just mimic that. Like that dude, man.
That is,
he doesn't get enough credit. I know he's in the Hall of Fame and people talk about him and stuff like that, but I don't think he gets talked about enough.
But they mull over his career. I mean, you look at people will only mention WrestleMania 3, or his matches with Flair. Steamboat worked with some of the best workers in the business. Rude, Rhodes, Wyndham,
and part
Douglas,
part of it's to his detriment. Like part of it is, in my opinion, Steamboat's fault, because he never really stayed anywhere long. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when he'd go work for Vince, he'd get butthurt or whatever about something and leave. And I'm not knocking the guy. I'm just saying I don't think he had a sustained run somewhere long enough after the the Vince McMahon expansion. Steamboat never stayed anywhere long enough to just get that.
If you want to see some low key not low key for its time when it happened, but low key stuff, I guess I would say, with Steamboat that kind of gets glossed over from the history. Like Archie said, people talk about Steamboat and Savage, or people talk about Steamboat and Flair, and a lot of his other stuff gets glossed over. You know who he had fantastic matches with that I've watched recently? He had great matches in '84 with Wahoo McDaniel.
Yes, he did.
Watching those two work together it's as good as this. I mean, it's just so good. I was not, when I was a kid, obviously, by the time I became a wrestling fan of any note, other than just a little doofus watching Hulk Hogan on TV, I didn't know about, and I know we're getting off topic, but whatever.
No, go ahead.
I didn't know about, all I knew of Wahoo McDaniel was he was this old pudgy guy that would show up on the NWA show once in a while.
Right.
Man, go back and watch Wahoo. What the fuck? What a worker.
Oh, yeah.
What a worker. And then you think about the fact that you literally wouldn't have had the refined Ric Flair or Ricky Steamboat that you had without Wahoo McDaniel.
Yep. And they both attributed him. They both say it's because of him.
Working with Wahoo is what made Flair step up his game, But yeah, back to the match. Got off topic. Like I said, good job, good salesman here. And then, did you guys have anything else about the works of the match before we go to the finish?
Well, we put over a lot about Steamboat and what he does. Regal was never bad.
Never.
And I know that sounds silly. It's not even like a backhanded comment. The guy was never bad. Like, even when he was like 275 pounds, like a fat ass when he was on his drugs and shit, he wasn't even bad then.
No, and you talked earlier about selling moves realistically or applying moves realistically. He's a master of that. And I want to ask you guys this. Do you think, even though maybe he got his initial training in OVW back in the early 2000s, do you think maybe Randy Orton has had some ring time with William Regal?
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Because
I mean, Orton did. I'm sure Brock did. I'm sure everybody did.
Just watching Orton, and people can say what I know. I'm a bigger fan of Orton than a lot of people are. I don't know. There's a modern wrestler that is better at realistically selling anything than Randy Orton. He does an amazing job.
Well, he's been in the ring, 15, almost 20 years. I mean, it makes sense.
And he also, but he had it in him early. Look at those matches he had with Foley. Fuck.
Right.
Jesus.
I heard this match tonight was fire.
Fire.
It was.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the show.
It's not a cinematic match like we all thought it was going to be. It's a legit Inferno match like Undertaker Kane. But it's right up there with the first Undertaker Kane. It is not like the other ones they did with MVP, and it's good. The whole pay-per-view is great. I suggest watching it because it is good. But as far as Regal goes, I have that in my notes, Aaron. I liked Regal better in WCW than I did in WWE, WWF, only because in WCW they allowed him to be himself.
Well, Regal it's the tale of two Regals, though, because WCW, they let him be more of the wrestler that he was.
Right.
But I think when he got to the WWF,
the
WWF let him be himself.
Right. No, I agree.
I think the WWF let him be himself there, because like WCW, he'd do funny little Piccadilly type things in the ring and stuff like that. But WWF got him, and somebody was like, you know what? This is a funny motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, this
Right.
guy's fucking funny. Let's do
No,
something with him.
I
And
agree. But you look, I mean, in WWE, yeah, he was the Intercontinental Champion. He was the King of the Ring. But they never really gave him an opportunity to be pushed as those things because he'd either lose it to a guy like Punk or they'd, abandon the King of the Ring gimmick 3 months later or whatever. In WCW, he was the World Television title for years.
oh yeah, I know.
Him-
I get what you're saying. I'm just
Him,
saying.
Steamboat, Anderson, Dustin Rhodes, all personified that title. So, and the thing that I loved about the Steamboat Regal match here was that this wasn't the ending of the feud.
Mhm.
By far, they were going to go on another 3 or 4 months until Regal went on to fight Johnny B. Bad and other guys. And then that's when he kind of got pushed out of the television title division when Johnny B. Bad won it and they stuck him with Bobby Eaton and Dave Taylor.
Was this before or after he did his stuff with Zbyszko?
I think this might have been before,
It
but
was
I'm not
before.
quite sure.
I
He
love
did the
it.
stuff. He did the stuff with Zbyszko in '94.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this was
I love
before.
the Zbyszko stuff.
Oh, yeah, I
love
did
the
too.
Zbyszko stuff.
And I'm not a huge... Go ahead.
I was just saying, Zbyszko beats him for the TV title, and I think that might be like a spring stampede or something like that.
Right.
As I've become older, I every year that I get older, I appreciate Larry Zbyszko more.
See, now
Like
that's
I
where we
didn't
differ.
I didn't appreciate him when I was younger, and now as years go on, I seek out.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I seek out Larry Zbyszko stuff. Like he's just man, Archie. The greatest thing in the history of TNA, that entire company, is Zbyszko's rivalry with Raven. It's ludicrous and it's fantastic.
That's see right there. That's where we differ, though. As a young fan, Larry Zbyszko and Arn Anderson and the Dangerous Alliance was the shit for me. I was like, yes, they're the best tag team. And then even when Larry got injured and they brought in Bobby Eaton, I was like, they're still a great 3-man tag team. This is awesome. And as I got older, Larry began doing shoot interviews and talking shit about everybody and their mother. And it was like, wow, you become a bitter old man, Larry. Like, calm down. You were an attraction. You were a great wrestler. Be a legend. Don't be a bitter old man. And then he went to TNA, and then, like you said, with Raven, that actually made me chuckle. You're right. It was funny. It was great. But then he left TNA, and he was like, those sons of bitches fired me. And Jim Cornette, I'm like, really? Again, Larry?
In AWA, he helped Kurt Hennig, and he helped him like win a belt or something like that. And somebody was like, Larry, did you do it for the money? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's his response. Yeah. Why else would I have done it? Like,
The finish of this match, awesome.
Brilliant.
Awesome finish. We get a really some hot action going into the stretch. Steamboat skins the cat, and as he skins the cat,
we glossed over something.
Okay.
He does the crossbody, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when he does the crossbody, he rolls off because he can't get the pin because of the ribs, and Regal pushed him off. But when he finally does go get the pin, this motherfucker had enough sense to not use
the arm with the bad ribs.
The arm with the bad rib.
He didn't go for the leg hook, right?
Mm-hmm.
He tried to like hook him with another. It's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, he was like trying to hold down his arms. He put all his weight down on his shoulders, but it being William Regal, he pushed him off. But yeah, his psychology towards I'm injured. If I don't show I'm injured, it's gonna look like crap. And he just kept showing that he was injured.
Steamboat's the pits in this match. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
And then Steamboat skins the cat and gets hit in the tits with an umbrella shot.
It almost sounded real. Nate.
Oh,
I thought he really connected because it was like just a whap.
Oh yeah, I was like,
wow.
I was watching it, and as I'm watching it, like literally in my head went, "Damn, he cracked that motherfucker!"
Yeah. With the handle side too. It wasn't with the umbrella side. It was with the handle side. And Regal's got the referee, and I don't know if anybody paid attention. Regal's on his ass in the middle of the ring like this with the referee, like, what? What am I doing? I didn't do anything. And then he just pinned Steamboat.
But a great finish to a great match. And I actually gave this match 4 out of 5 Jeff Farmer Yeps.
I agree with you.
4.5.
I agree.
Aaron gives it 4.5. Tom Mallison, good suggestion.
Definitely a good suggestion. Better than my
You never do anything else for the rest of your life. At least you pick that good match for us to watch.
Yeah, Archie, we're never ever doing your suggestion.
Why not? We had
Because
to
we
watch
watched
it.
it.
That
We
one
watched it
night.
once. Yeah, we watched it once, and that was enough.
But it's New York rules, bro.
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 So let me look here real quick. Just let me bring up. Oh, Aaron's going to love this. Nathan Roberts will get our match for the week for next week from the Post. He suggested Sting versus Diamond Dallas Page from April 26th of 1999. So that is the match we will watch for next week's show for you, Nathan.
Hold on. We're almost at the tippy toes of New York rules, bro.
Almost, bro.
Almost there. All right.
It was the best of times.
It was the worst of times. Shame on you, Nathan Roberts. I liked you before this.
But thank you, Tom Mallison.
But thank you, Tom Mallison.
Thing, but DDP, man.
Well, we'll see. Maybe it'll be good.
No,
I remember this match. It was not good. There was nothing redeeming about it. If I'm not mistaken, there was like 4 run-ins during this match.
Well, we are going to find out next week. And guys, right now, I think we'll take our first break. And when we return, we will do our top 10. Coming up, it is top 10 least favorite / worst angles of all time. And we'll be right back on the We Can't Wrestle podcast.
Woo!